Welcome back to the Restricted Handling Daily Intel Brief. This is what's been going on in Russia in the past 24 hours. The biggest Russian development is a command decision that could shape the next phase of the drone war. Vladimir Putin has appointed Colonel General Denis Lyamin to lead the new Unmanned Systems Forces, formally placing a veteran operational commander over a capability that now touches reconnaissance, strike, logistics interdiction, and battlefield adaptation. This gives the drone branch a recognizable center of gravity inside the military hierarchy. The wider reshuffle matters too. Valery Solodchuk is moving from command of the center grouping to unified military logistics, while Andrei Ivanayev takes over center. Moscow is tightening control over two functions that increasingly determine whether pressure can be sustained: unmanned systems and the supply network behind them. The immediate question is whether Lyamin receives real authority over budgets, procurement, training, and personnel. A coordinating title would produce headlines. Control over resources would produce a different military. There is a real trade-off inside this centralization. One commander can speed doctrine, procurement, and the transfer of lessons across fronts. A new branch can also collide with the established services, electronic warfare commands, and local formations that already own parts of the drone mission. Russia appears willing to accept that bureaucratic risk because drones have become too important to remain fragmented. This is the organizational version of taking a fast-growing startup and giving it a seat at the executive table. That command move connects directly to the day's most consequential alliance story. Ukrainian military intelligence says a North Korean missile unit of roughly 90 personnel has begun deploying to Russia's Voronezh region alongside the 112th Missile Brigade. The reported package could eventually include as many as 120 KN-23 and KN-24 ballistic missiles and 6 launchers, with 40 missiles already delivered. Those exact figures have not been independently verified, and neither Moscow nor Pyongyang has confirmed the deployment. The uncertainty deserves a bright red circle, but the strategic direction fits an established relationship. North Korea has already supplied Russia with missiles, artillery shells, and troops. A specialized missile detachment would deepen that partnership from supply and manpower into integrated force employment. North Korean personnel could gain experience in planning launches, maintaining systems, working around defenses, and assessing results against a modern opponent. Russia would gain more weapons able to pressure Ukraine's narrow high-end air defense coverage. That creates a feedback loop with consequences far beyond Ukraine. Combat data can help North Korea improve later missile batches and sharpen tactics relevant to South Korea and Japan. Russia can test imported systems, identify their weaknesses, and use the extra inventory to complicate Ukrainian defense. The key indicators are physical evidence of North Korean launchers or personnel in Voronezh, clarity about who controls firing decisions, and any sign that Pyongyang receives technical support in return. The battlefield evidence shows why this additional missile mass would matter. An overnight Russian attack on Kyiv and the surrounding region killed 17 people and wounded 44, according to Ukrainian authorities. Ukraine reported 24 ballistic missiles, 4 hypersonic or supersonic missiles, and 115 drones. Defenders intercepted 98 drones, but no ballistic missiles. Civilian businesses, workers, logistics sites, warehouses, and a postal sorting center were among the losses, while Moscow described the targets as military-linked. The tactical takeaway is brief and brutal. Strong performance against drones does not prevent strategic damage when ballistic missiles reach urban and logistics nodes. Russia can use drones to crowd sensors and force expenditure, then preserve harder-to-intercept weapons for high-value targets. If North Korean missiles expand that inventory, Ukraine faces a deeper arithmetic problem every night. The industrial response is moving, though its clock runs much slower. U.S.-led discussions on Patriot production include possible component work in Ukraine and final assembly in Germany. That could create a more resilient European supply chain and reduce dependence on annual political decisions. Officials involved in the talks say newly manufactured interceptors would not reach Ukraine for at least a year. Kyiv says PAC-3 stocks are already critically short. And the Iran war has intensified competition for the same class of scarce defensive weapons. That timing gap may become Russia's most useful form of leverage. A future factory cannot intercept a missile tonight, and winter raises the cost of every successful attack on power and heating infrastructure. Moscow has a strong incentive to press before new production arrives. Ukraine and its partners therefore face two separate jobs. Move existing interceptors fast enough to cover the immediate period and build capacity that can survive a long contest. The rear area fight is widening at the same time. Ukrainian strikes against Russian warehouses, distribution hubs, ports, and other commercial logistics sites increase insurance costs and force authorities to spread defenses across a larger map. Turkey has called on both sides to protect navigation after another drone-related maritime incident. The civil-military line gets blurry around large transport and distribution networks because the same facilities can serve ordinary commerce and wartime logistics. Expect more layered air defense around ports, industrial parks, and transport nodes, along with tighter scrutiny of workers and contractors. Europe is also adding financial endurance. The European Commission announced that 1.4 billion euros in proceeds from immobilized Russian central bank assets will support Ukraine. The mechanism directs extraordinary revenues while preserving the underlying principle. It strengthens defense and recovery funding, though money cannot instantly manufacture PAC-3 rounds or launchers. Kyiv is tightening its own decision structure. President Vladimir Zelensky appointed Ihor Klimenko as Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council with a winter protection coordination mandate. He also received separate reports from senior security, intelligence, parliamentary, and diplomatic officials on the negotiation track and Moscow's posture. Ukraine is trying to integrate resilience and diplomacy, while Russia integrates strike and sustainment. The overall picture is a contest between machinery that works on different timelines. Russia is centralizing drone command, adding foreign-enabled missile depth, and sustaining pressure on cities and logistics. Ukraine is building a more coordinated protection structure, widening counterstrikes, securing European financing, and pursuing a longer-term Patriot production base. Over the next several weeks, watch Lyamin's actual authorities. Any verified North Korean missile presence in Voronezh, transfers from existing Allied interceptor stocks, and the next large ballistic package. Those indicators will show whether Moscow's new command structure is translating into faster operational pressure before Ukraine's industrial answer comes online. That's it for today's tour through the world's least relaxing headlines. If this was useful, leave a review or comment. For the deeper dive, head to restrictedhandling.substack.com. Stay sharp.